What's up YouTube? Hi, my name is Juju and welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll be going over what cards I'm buying before Mortal Judgment releases on April 19th or 20th, depending on where you are in the world. So, Mortal Judgment is coming up. I'm super excited. We usually do market watches at this time, but I decided to spice it up a little bit because new expansion day is always fun, and it's always a good time to kind of like play out predictions and all that good stuff. A couple things I want to note before we go down this list though. One, this is not financial advice, so yeah, if you want real financial advice, just, find a professional financial advisor. I'm just the guy making content on YouTube, right? So be wary of that. Two, I'm going to try to stay away from the cards that have already kind of spiked. Like, for example, a lot of the Anubian, like 1-mana Anubian cards have already spiked, so I'm not going to go over that. I think these cards are more so going to be cards that I feel like are very undervalued and could possibly see a spike depending on whether or not these cards or the decks that these cards support fall into the meta. And I have a good opinion that they will, but that's just me. Also, some of these cards on this list are going to be boring. Just a heads up. Like, these are cards that are like a no-brainer to most players, but at the same time, like, they probably just haven't been like bought into yet because it's just like they're cards that you should expect to see play, but people don't necessarily think so. But don't worry, we do have some spicy additions into the list. So yeah, there are going to be price ranges for all cards. We're going to have some expensive ones, we're going to have some cheap ones, and we're going to have some in the middle ones. So I'm excited to go down the list. With that being said, this is just what I'm doing, so take this with a grain of salt. Also, I could be completely wrong, so do your own research. Like, make sure you vet all the cards that I'm going over, and if you have any opinions on it, leave something in the comment section below. Yeah, something nice. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. So card number one that I'm buying into for before Mortal Judgment releases on April 20th or 19th, depending on where you are in the world, Frumentarii Researcher. Why am I doing this card? Well, for one, I know it spiked already, but I'm actually buying into this because it can spike. I think it's going to spike even harder. And the reason why I think this is, two of the best decks that run Mystics right now are going to be Light and Magic. And those decks Light's already been in the metagame for a while, but I'm more focused on Magic. And the reason why I'm focused on how this card can benefit Magic is when you look at all of the strong cards in Magic already, right? And these are like cheap 1-mana, 2-mana, 3-mana Mystics. You have Shadow Scryer, which is the 1/1 with protected and ward, and gives you the ability to foresee one at the end of your turn or start of your turn. You have Demetrios, which is a 2-mana Mystic that draws you that spell, the Final Draft spell. You have, what else? The Magic Carpet thing, that's a 1-mana 3/1 with ward. That's really strong. Not only that, you have all of the Echo cards in the new set that are Mystics. So if those Echo cards for some reason get played and they generate another 1-mana 1/1 version of themselves, that 1-mana 1/1 version of themselves should also be Mystic too, right? If that's the case, then Frumentarii Researcher is going to have a lot of ammo for those turns. Best part about it is that Magic got Alistrina, and Alistrina is ridiculous. For those of you that have been living under a rock, it's a 4-mana card, basically with the roar of when you summon this card, discount your whole hand by 1 mana. That's insane. If I have a Frumentarii Researcher and a whole bunch of 1-mana Mystics in my hand and I play Alistrina, I basically have a 2-mana Frumentarii Researcher and a handful of 0-mana Mystics. So That's a lot of damage if you do the math. And that could be really good. Not only that, Alistrina is also a mystic. So you can play Frumentar Researcher turn 3 into Alistrina turn 4, discount your hand, and then go off with another whatever you want to go with. So that's my spiel on this card. I think it's going to be a pretty good bet. It's also only like $4 right now at the moment. So yeah, you can definitely catch a spike and sell this card if you decide to flip it, right? In February, it peaked all the way to $6. So there's a decent ceiling for it to reach. But yeah, in terms of what I think might be really good in the metagame, Magic Mystic might be a thing to try just because it's something within that field. If OTK Magic doesn't, take over the meta as well, because OTK Magic is also looking like a very strong competitor. But yeah, this card gets benefit from top decks right now, Light, of course, and then Magic and all of the Echo cards that come with the new Magic cards. Cool. Next up, second card on the list, we have Underbrush Boar. So 2 mana, 3/3 wild, confused at the end of the turn. Underbrush Boar is summoned, attack a random enemy creature. The reason why I'm putting this card on the list is, one, it's pretty underpriced right now considering its history. It's only $82 only. But the reason why I put this card on the list is Nature is going to get a pretty big buff this release. I think it's going to be top tier. The reason being is Injured Sprouts are really good. Not only that, all of the other early game minions like Black Jaguar and Marshwalker, like those minions that have regen are going to be insane with the new Nature legendaries. Silk Spike, you have the Echo, and then you have the Dagon, yeah. Those cards are going to be insane. The reason why I'm picking Underbrush Boar, even though it doesn't have regen like its Black Jaguar counterpart, it's probably one of the strongest 2-drops that you can put in a Nature deck. And if you're a competitor and you want to be really good at Gods Unchained, or you just want to farm packs during your weekend, Underbrush Boar is a great card, especially if you're running Nature. So that's why it's put on to the list. Right now, you can currently get it at $82, which is not bad considering that its peak in February was like almost $200. So, if Nature falls into popularity again, expect this card to see more play. I say get your copies now while you can, because, yeah, I'm willing to put money that Nature is going to be very good this format. Unless the devs decide to nerf whatever they want to nerf. That's the only caveat. So, next up, for card number 3, we have Whetstone. And why am I including Whetstone? So, Whetstone is your 1 mana, give your relic 4 strength for its next attack. It's a pretty cheap option. It's also a Genesis set card, which has some value to it because it's more scarce than other commons. You can currently get it at $3, which is nice. The reason why I'm saying Whetstone will be a good card is I'm actually thinking relics might be a very good thing in war decks, especially the aggressive war decks. But not only that, it can serve as an OTK kind of, especially considering the fact that, okay, we just got Garen, which is basically a 4 mana 3/4 that discounts all of your Empower cards. Then on top of that, we have Mobilized, which does the same thing as Garen and has an Empower effect that if you spend 4 extra mana, you get to draw 4 cards before you discount. So that's good. But then on top of the Mobilized, you have this card that I forget its name, but it's 3 mana spell with Empower 2 or something like that. And it's basically give 2 strength. And then if you use the Empower effect, you double the relic strength, right? And because it's an Empower card, it can be discounted by Mobilized and Garen. So that can be pretty insane, especially if you have it on a relic like Scythe of the Harvest, the Ares one, the 3 mana, the 3 mana 3/2 relic with God Blitz, and there's also a new 3 mana relic in the new set that has God Blitz and Empower. It's only a 4/1, but because it's an Empower card, it can be discounted by Garen and Mobilized and possibly some other cards. And Whetstone is actually the cheapest weapon buff you can give to your relic, which is really nice. So there is a lot of burst damage OTK potential there. You can go for a pure OTK, but honestly, the way I see these interactions happen is it gets splashed into maybe an aggressive deck that can do a lot of damage early on, and then you use the Mobilize plus God Blitz Relic plus Whetstone plus that card that doubles the attack into an easy 14-15 damage worth of like cards. Yeah. So that's what I think about Whetstone. I really wanted other cards to include too. You can include Sharpen in this list. I chose Whetstone because it's 1 mana, lots of OTK potential there. It could possibly be a front runner in the meta depending on how aggressive things are. But I did want to include this here because it's also a very cheap option to get into. Cool. Next up, fourth on our list is Shadewalker. So the reason why I'm including Shadewalker is aggressive deception got a little buff for sure, but I'm also including this card because one, Shadewalker is an Atlantean, and I think out of the new set, Immortal Judgment, one of the best epics that you can pull is that the 3 mana 2/3 Atlantean that at the end of your turn you give an Atlantean protected. Shadewalker definitely benefits from this. Boostwalker also benefits from that card. And Atlanteans are just a really underrated minion type right now. I think a lot of them have a lot of potential. You have like a Broken Harvester, which is basically a 1 mana 1/5 that attacks at the start of your turn. And that could have some implications, especially in aggressive aggro decks or aggressive Atlantean decks. But honestly, where I see that 3 mana 2/3 card come into play is going to be aggressive Atlantean like deception decks, right? So something that opens up with either a Switch Duelist or an Orfeo or Shadow of Lethanon, and then from there follows up with, I don't know, you can do a Wind Up Roller, which is a 2 mana 3/2 Atlantean that lets you draw a card. From there you follow up with either like a Phase Touch Golem or the 3 mana 2/3, or maybe even Eludia's Dedicant, the 3 mana 3/3, or a Jinxblade Duelist, something like that. From there you follow up with a Shadewalker or a Boostwalker depending on your board. After you follow up with the Shadewalker, you just buff the Shadewalker with like I don't know, you can use the 3 mana 2/3 that we were talking about that gives another random Atlantean protected, or you can use a Phase Touched Golem and give the Shadewalker ward, right? And that can be a really powerful effect. And then you just, I don't know, wait for your Shadewalker to get big enough to attack and do a sufficient amount of damage. Maybe you have a Merrick on board, Merrick, so that it copies the Shadewalker attack, so then the Merrick can attack next. It's pretty insane, and I think Shadewalker would be a pretty nice buy at this moment in time. Also, when we look at it ceiling, it reached almost $50 in December, so it could possibly see that could possibly happen again sometime after Mortal Judgment release, but you never really know. Cool, and for our final card on the list, we have Pyramid Warden. Okay, so why Pyramid Warden? Pyramid Warden's a pretty boring card, honestly. It's very stable, in my opinion. It's always going to have a place in the metagame. Of course, you have Munisian Infiltrator, but that card is just a waste of a card. If you're playing a card just to counter one other card, then you shouldn't be running that in your deck. Unless it's like Relic removal, where it's so widespread that, you know, every deck runs a Relic, so it works. But not every deck will run a Pyramid Warden. So anyways, I digress. The reason why I like this card is, one, it's at a third of its price in, December? I don't know. I feel like it reached it in January too, but it used to be over $400. So when I see like a dip in this, I'm like, okay, this could possibly see some more price action, right? And could possibly go up. But the other thing that I want to point out about Pyramid Warden is it's a great card for both control decks and aggro decks. Also, I personally think one of the most underrated cards in the new set, Mortal Judgment, is going to be Volkaz, the 4-mana 3/3 that deals damage and heals. And a lot of the new decks right now can possibly use it. If you haven't seen the Dragon Tooth War video, Pyramid Warden is a great card in that deck. Also in Regen Nature or Veggie Nature, something that I called it. Pyramid Warden also works because it's a high health 2-mana minion that you can heal and proc other effects that have those healing / survive damage stuff, right? Also works very good in Zoo Light, which is a top contender in this metagame right now. So yeah, there are a lot of good things that go about Pyramid Warden. It also serves as kind of like a wall against, the aggressive decks that we saw during PTR, like aggro Nubian and all that other stuff, right? So a lot of utility in Pyramid Warden. It has fallen out of favor in the meta right now, but I'm definitely sure that it's probably going to see play again. When things get more competitive and aggressive decks start becoming an option. So I'm buying into Pyramid Warden right now. It's a good card, and the ceiling has been proven. It's already proven that its ceiling can reach up to like over $400. So that's why you'll see me buy into this. Cool. Now that we got past the first 5, I do have some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is every Magic card, OTK, anything that goes into a typical Magic archetype. So OTK Magic, you want Tempo Magic or Ramp Magic. All of those decks just got better because of Alistrina and other options. But for example, Clone is a great card to buy into. Lost in the Depths, Cersei, Guardian of the Gates, Merlin is also pretty good, especially if you consider the fact that if you Alistrina Merlin, you can play the Merlin next turn, and that in turn discounts your entire hand too. That's pretty busted. Palace's Wand, Archimedes Mirror. I can just go down this list, and probably these cards will get buffed because of Alistrina, right? Even Portal Wrangler. That card can see a lot of different use because of Alistrina. So any Magic card, really. Alistrina is that good. Cool. Next up, I wanted to point out Desert Mercenary. So Desert Mercenary is a 3-mana 3/3 guild creature. Reduce 2/1. The cost of each guild creature in your hand would cost 2 or 3. That's really good. 2/1. If you're running a deck full of guild creatures, that's pretty insane, especially if you have think of this situation. Lady Marcella into a Desert Mercenary, into a Merrick, into any other guild creature that you can imagine. Your Echo guild creature is this card serves as a crazy tempo boost, and it's only a matter of time until people start discovering that, hey, this is actually pretty decent, especially if guild creatures keep getting buffed, right? So I wanted to include this card in the list because, guild's getting a lot of support, and with that support, there's a lot of opportunity for this card to see play. Boostwalker, I wanted to throw this in because I really do think Atlantean's got a big buff in the 3-mana 2/3. Atlantean that gives other Atlanteans protected. So I think this card is a pretty decent buy at the moment, especially because the cheapest you can find it at is $50. We've seen this card hit upwards to over 100. So right now we're currently hitting that support line, which is really nice. Next up, Daemonic Offering. The reason why I'm including Daemonic Offering is because aggro death is definitely going to see a resurgence, right? Whether that be in the form of 1-mana Nubians, whether that be in the form of imps or, zombies. Daemonic Offering is actually a very solid card in any of these decks because you get to tribute your expendable minions, whether that be a, I don't know, Wretched Vanguard or any other like zombie that or a Nubian that you have. Tribute that zombie or a Nubian, proc that Anubian's death rattle maybe, and then summon 2 anims that get the nether tribe, right? And these anims are pretty decent in my opinion, and for 3 mana you get a good deal. So yeah, I really like this card. I think it's going to be definitely going to see some play in aggro decks, and if you're playing an aggro death deck, this should be a staple for you, especially if the deck revolves around swarming the board. Cool. And then last but not least, this is Aggrador Protector. I wanted to include this card because it's a Genesis set common, so it's a little scarcer than most commons, but also it's going to see a lot of play in nature, especially in mid-range nature, because of its regen and the fact that, you know, it's a pretty decently sided minion for a 4 mana 3/5 with frontline and regen, right? Also in Amazon, so it's going to see Amazon support, but yeah, you're playing this for the regen effect. Especially if you're running, like, I don't know, a Silk Spite or a Dagon or any of the other new, like, health cards, nature health cards or whatever. So, yeah, I think this card is going to see more play, especially in, like, heal nature or decks that revolve around the new nature legendaries. So, yeah, I just wanted to include that in there. And there you have it, y'all. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to know my closing thoughts, yeah, those are a couple of cards that I've been seeing my eye on and I've bought into. I've entered positions into them. Again, I just want to say that this isn't financial advice for sure. Make sure you're doing your own research and, you know, vetting all that stuff. I just wanted to go ahead and share this because, I mean, it's fun content, right? We get to go ahead and, you know, Mortal Judgment's coming up, and it's always a good test of skill on how you can judge cards and sets based on, you know, looking at cards. And I just wanted to go ahead and try that exercise. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, hey, it's great. But other than that, thank y'all for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this content, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. What kind of cards are you buying into before Mortal Judgment releases this week? I'd love to hear your thoughts and, you know, see what everyone else is doing. But yeah, other than that, thank y'all for tuning in. Expect the Market Watch sometime later this week, and see y'all soon. Peace.